So my girlfriend and all of her friends and stuff, a lot of them went to schools with big Greek life.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything really about Greek life at all. I've just heard stories. And sometimes she makes fun of me when I ask stupid questions about like, tailgating or like all the stuff that they do. Did you have Greek life at Harvard?
We didn't have Greek life, but we had a version of it.
So you had to like be the pledge and go do all that stuff?
So the clubs we had at Harvard were called final clubs. And if you've seen The Social Network, the Facebook movie.
I have, yeah.
So Eduardo, who, Facebook's earliest CFO.
Played by Andrew Garfield, right?
Yes. He was punching the Phoenix Club. And this is what happens. Your sophomore fall, you get invited to punch, or you get punched, and you get invited to try out for the clubs. And there are 8 clubs. They're all male. They're vestiges of Harvard before Harvard went co-ed, it didn't even happen until I think the 1950s or 60s or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe it was the 70s. And they're incredibly old-fashioned, and they all have their own demographic. Okay. So one is the New York aristocracy club.
Mm-hmm.
One is the gentleman jock club, a lot of rowers and tennis players and soccer and lacrosse. That was the one I was in. Then there's the Porcellian, which is what Teddy Roosevelt was a member of, and that's kind of like the closest thing that they have to a secret society.
Gotcha.
That's what the Winklevoss twins were in.
Okay. You have to have some kind of like
that one's
legacy.
And each one of these clubs is a beautiful old mansion, right in the heart of Cambridge, right near Harvard Square. I mean, they're worth millions and millions of dollars. But some, due to a lack of alumni funding, have fallen into disrepair. And ours was so well funded that it was actually pristine. This 4-story mansion with a beautiful courtyard. We had butlers. We had a chef. We would eat lunch there every day, white tablecloths.
That's insane.
And then we would have like 4 or 5 big parties a year. And we only had 60 members. So we would go out, we would meet all these girls at BU, BC, Northeastern, all these different schools. And we would compile an email list and then send out a paperless post invite to our Christmas party. And I'm not kidding you, 400 girls would show up.
This is the most Harvard shit I've ever heard in my life, but it's brilliant.
There would be almost 6 girls to every guy at the party. And you would see groups of 10 girls that were not talking to a guy, and then you would just sort of go and hold court to be nice. And I had a girlfriend, so I was just kind of trying to be, to make sure everyone have a good time, like get them a drink or whatever. But they would often leave in a huff. And you'd watch them leave and go out the door and be like, there are no fucking guys at this party.
Oh, wow.
And you'd be like, you're goddamn right. It's designed that way. For once, every other party I've ever been to in Boston and in college is always a sausage party. And, we would kind of mitigate that. But it was super fun. And, but here's the problem. The university started cracking down right after I graduated because they were these single-sex exclusionary social clubs, and that was totally against what Harvard was trying to build.
Right.
And so they came up with a policy that said, because they couldn't cut them off completely because they were funded independently. They weren't affiliated technically with the university, but the university then said any person that becomes a member of one of these single-sex social clubs will forfeit their right to become a leader of a student organization, whether it's a captain of a team or, a lead in a play or the president of some group.
Mm-hmm.
And that hurt the clubs a lot. So a lot of them started going co-ed.
Oh, what?
But our club and a handful of others were like, fuck that. Because they're all run by the alumni.
Right.
And these rich old white dudes would just be like, that's not what I remember the club being. We had cigars and women were allowed for one night a year. For the dinner, the co-ed date dinner.
That's funny, dude.
So we had that, but I wouldn't call it Greek life. You couldn't sleep at these places. And you had parties, but there was no Greek. There wasn't really a hazing
what about the
element.
butler?
Yeah, I mean, they were more like bartenders. They would get us like
in the house but no one lived in the house.
correct.
Oh,
They were called stewards.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, like, I hear all these stories, and I don't know if any of them are true. If anybody has any like crazy hazing stories, I love to hear them. Because is it true that like in these fraternities that like the seniors rape the freshmen? Is that a thing?
I think in some schools in the South, you get some really violent hazing rituals.
You get raped anally?
I don't know about raped. I you know, the ones that always come out that are really bad that you hear are kids dying because they are forced to chug, you know, half a bottle of vodka. Or there was the kid a couple years back who was forced to drink multiple gallons of water, and he died because his organs drowned in how much fluid he was being forced to drink.
Jesus.
And
going for it.
Yeah, so you know that paddling.
What's that?
Physical abuse,
like spanking.
They have all those. It's like the famous, you know, Dazed and Confused. You know, the paddles that have the Greek lettering on them, and they tell them to bend over, and they hit him in the ass with it.
That's the one that the principal will punch at the presentation and break.
I don't know that.
Like the karate thing. Like the paddle shaped, like. Pew.
The principal does it?
Power perceived is power achieved.
Is that from the Karate Kid?
No, that's from The Substitute.
Oh, never saw that movie. Did you see that movie, Chris?
It's a great movie. Dude.
Oh. Well, either way, I know that a lot of, you know, hazing has become a felony in a lot of states. It's become so criminalized, and it wasn't for so many years. So now a lot of universities have cracked down and said that if we find any evidence of hazing, we are going to disband and ban your fraternity from campus.
Gotcha.
And shut it down. And I think a lot of frats became wise to that and are trying to cut it out. But I think it still does happen.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, not for nothing. It happened at our final clubs.
Really?
No physical abuse, but definitely things that had they come out.
Did you have to hold a penis?
No, we didn't have to do gay stuff. There was no forced homosexual activity. What we had to do, though, like we had to go to the BU student. We had a list of tasks, and we had to split into two teams, our let's call it a pledge class. And we had to accomplish the tasks, and we had to film them to compile at the end into a highlight video. And they were funny things. One of them, for example, was someone from our team had to go to the BU Student Center.
Oh, really? Student Union?
And take a shit on the floor.
What?
And then
school,
like
dude.
walk out.
That's fucked up.
And as it turned out, the kid on our team who did it went in during intramural ping pong practice.
Oh my God, I know exactly where that happens.
And the entire team was Asian American.
The George Sherman Union. I used to play down there. Dude,
and there were about 12 ping pong tables set up, and these guys were taking it very, very seriously. And this kid walked in, and you could just see it all unfolding in slow motion. First of all, the kid who had to do it was really nervous.
I would just hope so.
I mean, he really didn't want to do it. He felt like he wasn't like, yeah, I'm gonna really show these kids. He was like, guys, this seems so wrong.
He's like, can I just blow one of you, please?
Yeah. And he's like, and they're like, oh, you can do it, man. And so he goes in and he like says hi to these guys, and they're like, oh, sorry, we're using this, you know, for ping pong. And he goes, okay, no problem. And then he stands in between the two tables, undoes his pants, and squats down. And the captain of the team goes, hey, man, what are you doing? Hey, yo, no, don't shit. Don't shit. What are you doing? No, don't shit. Oh my God. Oh, yo, you better clean that up. You better clean that up, man. Oh, are you really going to leave that? What the fuck? Dude, guys, this guy just shit on the floor.
Oh my God.
And he just walked out.
That is insane.
Leaving a shit on the floor.
Wow.
And it was pretty funny. It was pretty evil.
And also, like, that's an easy one to get out of, I feel, because, like, no one can decide what to do. Like, do we get rid of the shit, or do we take this guy down?
You're not going to punch that kid in the face.
By the time you decide, he's gone.
Here's one that I had to do that was pretty funny. That is
fucking crazy, dude.
I had a pretty good one. We had to go to a local high school girls basketball game. and we went to like Cambridge Ringe in Latin. It's like a public school. And in the middle of the game, I had to go out on the floor, steal the ball, run to the opposite basket, make a layup, rip my shirt off, screaming, and then run off the court celebrating.
Oh my, what? You did that?
Yeah, we did that.
Oh my God.
And there were a lot of parents there who were really confused.
You're like, boo.
Yeah, they didn't get it. They didn't like me at all. And a buddy of mine was filming from the stands. And by the way, this was 2006? No, 2008. It was 2008. And so we were filming a lot of this shit on a small digital handheld camera.
Wow.
That's what we used back then.
That's crazy.
And that was kind of funny.
I just picture some kid who got a perfect score on his SATs. He's incredible at playing the cello, traveled all over the world. He's just like worked his ass off to finally get into Harvard. 6 months later, he's just taking a shit on the floor of the George Sherman Union.
Oh, yeah.
At Boston
He was
University.
a tennis player, too.
He was?
That kid. Yeah.
Unfucking believable.
Yeah.
What a piece of shit.
Someone had to go. This one was kind of bad. Someone had to go to a Petco, buy a goldfish, and then pay for it at the counter. And then while it was at the counter, chug it, swallow the whole fish.
That's insane.
Now it sounds worse because you're thinking of probably a fat, cute goldfish. But it was a very small goldfish,
Ugh.
and it's sashimi.
That's
Really?
awkward stuff.
You had to do that, Chris?
You heard of someone doing it?
Yeah. A lot of goldfish have given their lives to Greek life.